British Triathlon, proudly partnered by GE. Imagination at work.
Hello, welcome to the imposing sight of London's modern corridors of power. Every day here, the city's financial heavyweights influence countries and continents with their decisions and dealings. But tonight, it's the triathletes who have to box clever on one of the shortest courses of any swim, bike, run race. This is the GE Canary Wharf Triathlon. It's hard to believe that a year has already passed since triathlon made such a memorable debut in the inaugural event 12 months ago. And once again, the knockout races have drawn big crowds and big reputations as some of the finest, fittest triathletes gather in a bid for Dockland's delight.
It's just good to showcase triathlon to the country, and obviously the capital with the Olympics coming up. You know, I just hope everyone gets behind the sport because, yeah, it's an amazing thing, and you know, this type of format is just crazy fun to watch and take part in.
We've already seen the female winner crowned Queen of Canary Wharf, but let's just remind ourselves exactly how that elite women's race panned out with your commentator, Patrick Winterton.
Well, there was only one qualifying heat for the women's, and it was a frantic affair. Blatchford looked very good for Great Britain. McShane of Australia made an early mistake and forced mistakes from others. They were then out of contention and with no chance of going through to the final. A 400-metre swim to get things underway. That didn't separate the field much. Ashley Bailey of Australia showed her intentions early on, and it was the Australians again who did the majority of the work on the bike. But they all came into T2 together, and it was time for the runners to hit the front. Katie Hewison left Blatchford and the Aussies for dead and claimed the 100 Super Series points. A great event for the women, and the men racing over the same distances. 400 metres in the water. That will take just over 4 minutes. A technical bike course, 9 laps in all and some very tight corners, and they finish it off with 6 minutes on foot. It will be flat out for 2 kilometres.
As if the triathletes needed any additional pressure, today is round 3 of the British Triathlon Super Series. And with no clear leader, there's a real opportunity for whoever can hold their nerve and master the turns.
After the first 2 races at Blenheim and Windsor, the Super Series standings look like this, with Richard Stannard back on top with 135 points. Tim Don, one of the favourites, down in 5th place. Now, Tim Don goes in Heat 1, and if he qualifies for the final and goes on to get a good result, he could well head the series at the end of the day. But he's got some pretty stiff competition. Adam Bowden certainly is one who could challenge. Matt Gumby, who finished 3rd last year behind Sexton and Harris. And there are plenty of Americans and Australians for Tim Don to worry about. Kerr, Shoemaker, Safarez, amongst others.
It's a great chance to do, hopefully 2 mini triathlons, and you know, try and get the small things right, the transitions, the starts, and you know, hopefully the finish as well. I've been in great shape most of the year. I just want to execute it.
A really good turnout for the Canary Wharf Triathlon this year means that it's very difficult to qualify for the final. The fastest 8 in each heat, plus the 4 fastest losers.
Just know you don't take your foot off the gas. Once the gun goes, you just go till you get to the line. I guess there's 2 things. You've got to swim fast, and then that means nothing when you get to the first buoy. It's all about positioning, and there's a lot of luck involved in there. So, you know, you could be 2nd or 3rd round the first buoy and absolutely get walloped, and then you're back at the back of the packs.
Don's 2nd round, both of the boys, but he's got away unscathed. It's James Davis who's first out of the water. Don in 2nd, a little bit tentative, but he's ahead of the masses and in a strong position. So important, the transitions. The shorter the race, the more important the transition becomes. Aaron Royal of Australia eagerly trying to get out of T1. Remember, he finished in 4th position last year. He'll certainly be looking to finish on the podium this time round. A leading group of 4, Don followed closely by Royal.
There's not much tactics, it's just 3, 2, 1, go, bang, and there's not much thinking going on. I don't really think too much in a normal triathlon, and in something so short like this. no real time to think. You just got to go for it.
The chasing pack unable to close on that leading group of four, showing the effectiveness of a small group on a technical course like this one. Davis, Royal and Canute with Tim Don up front and the first into T2. Slick drills from Tim Don and the Australian Royal.
You're just thinking where your shoes are, and you just want to have a clean transition, get the shoes on as quick as possible and get out on that run, and it is literally just absolutely max pretty much for the whole 2K. So if you can get out and transition near the front, then it's very hard for guys behind to catch up.
A late burst from Aaron Royal secures first place in the initial heat here at Canary Wharf. A good run from Canute of USA. He shows that he could be dangerous come the final. Bowden's through, Bailey's through, and Tim Don, of course, qualified.
It's great fun out there. Awesome.
What a short, sharp burst. And have you got enough in the tank left for the final?
Oh yeah, I was only about 70% then, so yeah, it's all good, all good.
The run was pretty conservative the whole way. I sort of wanted to do that last 100 hard because if you come across first, you still get a good starting pontoon as well.
And plenty of talent in the second heat as well. 24-year-old Aaron Harris on the podium last year for Great Britain. He's certainly a contender this year as well.
It's all out straight from the gun. It's such an exciting race to do, especially the final. Good atmosphere, one of the best races I did last year, really fun.
Well, his main competition will come from Jared Shoemaker of USA, who's a very, very talented runner.
I'm super excited to be back at this race. This is one of the races that I actually put on my calendar first before anything else. I told my coaches that I wanted to be back at Canary Wharf. I'd race this race every day the rest of the year if I had the chance to. I just love the setting and love the trials and finals, and it's just so quick and so fast. This race is totally different than anything else we do all year long. I think, to begin with, it's a quarter of the length of the Olympic distance race, so you got to be sprinting on the swim, and then transition just goes by in a second. And that's actually where I lost it in the finals last year, was T1. I couldn't get my wetsuit off and ended up chasing for the bike.
No mistake from Shoemaker or Harris for that matter, who's trying different tactics from the others.
All the little seconds count. One of the main reasons for coming second last year is I used pyro pedals, which are trainers straight onto flat pedals, which we don't normally use. That probably saved me 2 or 3 seconds, but by the finish,
Harris just a few metres off the back of the main group as they approach T2, but he is lightning quick through the transition and his tactics paying off in a big way. A big group leading out onto the road for the final 2 kilometres. Shoemaker's got left behind in T2 and he's going to have to work much harder than he'd planned initially.
Something that's totally different that most of us aren't used to is kind of doing 2 races in the same day, and it's different, but as athletes, that's kind of the thing that maybe we're a little bit better at, is having that second race after you've already done a workout.
Peter Kerr crossing the line first in Heat 2 to qualify. Harris safely through. Zafiris is there as well. Shoemaker having to put on a sprint to hopefully get a fastest loser spot. Now he's down in 11th position. It is a quick heat number 2, so that might save him, but he's had to work much, much harder than he would have wanted before the final. Let's see, he's made it. He's in 20th position by the skin of his teeth. Richard Stannard is through again, trying to defend his lead at the top of the Super Series. But it's the Australians who win both Heat 1 and 2 with Royal and Kerr.
It's time for the very last race of the night. It's the elite men. On paper, Britain's Tim Don is looking good, but there are a whole host of overseas stars who might challenge him. It's short, it's sharp, and this could be very unpredictable. So let's get straight over to your commentator, Patrick Winterton.
Aaron Royal introduced to the crowd here at Canary Wharf. He will get pole position on the pontoon. The crowd's favourite, Tim Don, will also be in a strong position. He needs to capitalise on that. 400 metres to swim. It will take just over 4 minutes. Some brilliant swimmers in here. Particularly Zafiris, who was one of America's best butterfly swimmers. So away they go. Remember, 2 right left-hand turns, 90 degrees each. The first to the corner will get a distinct advantage, and it's Zafiris who's broken clear, and he's taken his teammate Benjamin Canute with him. Now the Americans could be working together here. There's nothing in the rules that says they can't. Nice fluent swimming, certainly an advantage to be up front. You get clean water, you can see where you're going. There's none of the hustle and bustle of swimming in the group, which is so much more tiring. Fantastic swimming by the two Americans, and Royal has just moved up into third. Kerr of Australia has got himself into fourth position. Zafiris still leading from his teammate Canute, preparing for the exit. Now, Zafiris has been practicing the exit on this pontoon. Have a look at his technique. Swimming as far up as he possibly can. He's away, and he's away quickly. Aaron Royal of Australia, not quite so smooth, but he's got himself into third position as they run their way into T1. A little check over the shoulder from Zafiris, and there's a big gap. Well, here's the disadvantage of being in a group. Once again, fighting for position all the time, losing time. Zafiris, lightning quick into T1. If he gets the same out, he could find himself on his own. Aaron Royal looking to continue Australia's success here at Canary Wharf. Sexton, of course, winning last year, a man who's been selected for the Australian Olympic team. Zafiris is away, looking very focused. Royal, not the quickest transition, but he comes out very, very fast. He knows how important it is to get on the back wheel of the two Americans. Bishop leading the chasing group. Where is Tim Don? There he is. He's got about 25 seconds to make up on the Americans. And of course, Shoemaker is in there. Shoemaker, a brilliant runner, remember, and he'll look forward to the final leg. Well, this is some margin. Fantastic work from the two Americans. They knew how important the swim was, and they've certainly made it pay. Royal is in contention. He's yet to get his feet into his shoes. Not offering to do any work in the early stages. He caught the Americans in the swim. He's had to do the same after T1. He's thought this through very, very carefully. Those three leaders, I think, have decided to try and make a go of this. Again, they discuss the situation, and you can just see the chasing group in the background. They're about 200 yards behind. Now, in a normal triathlon, a group of three would stand no chance, but on a technical course like this at Canary Wharf, they have every chance if they can work together. Here are the chasers. They need to get organised, and they need to get organised very, very quickly. Tim Don certainly won't shirk any work in the attempt to claw back those three leaders. Bailey and Harris doing the work in the chasing pack at the moment. And the pack is formed. They know their prey, that leading group of three. I wonder whether they're an endangered species or three talented escape artists who'll hold off Don, Shoemaker, Harris all the way to the finish.
British Triathlon, proudly partnered by GE. Imagination at work.
Welcome back to the GE Canary Wharf Triathlon. London's financial district is winding down, but we're gearing up for a big climax. Can the pack catch the three leaders? Let's get straight back out to the action.
Well, what a race we've got developing here at Canary Wharf. Zafiris has done much of the work in that leading group of three. Canute taking his share. Royal of Australia, a canny race from him. He had to work hard in the swim to catch the Americans. He had to work hard coming out of T1, and he takes the lead for the first time. I think sensing that the chasing group are starting to close the gap. They've gone from 20 to 19 seconds behind. Royal is certainly the best runner of the three in front, and he knows his best chance is to have a healthy lead over this group going into T2, because there are some really talented runners in the main group. Shoemaker certainly. Watch out for Tim Don as well, and Aaron Harris, who's pushing the pace on the bike at the moment.
I think because you've got the long straights, you'll be able to see everyone in view. A couple of tight little 90-degree corners. But once you're on the long straight, you can see everyone's going to be on the wheel. People are going to be wanting to break away just for those extra 5-10 seconds. I mean, it all adds up at the end. So.
The 19-second buffer held by the lead trio could make a race-winning margin going into a 2K run, but the fastest runners were in the chasing group and they were riding just as aggressively.
I think you can put the hammer down, and I think you can really hurt people in and out of those corners. It's nine laps, and there's 4 solid corners each lap. And you know, if you put the hammer down straight from the swim, you know, I think it could be really favour a small group away.
Which is what had happened, of course, though Tim wasn't in that group and would have to make it up on the run. But with so many quick feet behind them, could the 2 Americans and the Australian hang on through what was set to be a grimly painful 2K? Let's rejoin commentary with Patrick.
Approaching T2, the second transition and a crucial phase here at Canary Wharf. Off come the shoes as they prepare to dismount before the white line. Royal cuts it fine. Down into T2 then. Royal made a bit of a mess of the first transition. He knows he can't afford to do the same here. The Australian leading the way. A very, very quick runner indeed. On go the shoes, off comes the helmet, and he is away while the Americans are left stranded. Zafiris and Canute have already lost 15 metres to a much better runner. They've made their lives unnecessarily hard. Now, who is going to put up the chase? Don will be in and out like a flash. Shoemaker on the left of your screen, still looking relatively fresh. Don pushing hard, that head nodding already. 25 seconds the margin. Well, they've got a lot of work to do, and they've only got 2,000 metres to make up that difference. This is going to be a fascinating encounter. Royal has already left the Americans behind and looks reasonably light on his feet. And the danger just coming round the corner, you can see them in the background. They are 125 metres adrift of the lead. The race is on, and it's Tim Don trying to close down the gap at the moment. Bowden looking fairly composed in second place in that chase group. Peter Kerr of Australia in third, and just behind him, Shoemaker of the USA. Well, there are plenty of Australian fans. That will certainly help Royal out front, and Tim Don will have his fair share of support as well. No change in the pace or the tempo of Royal. He knows his quickest way from A to B is to stay steady. But if last year's anything to go by, he's going to require a sprint finish. Don, Shoemaker are looking fantastic. Shoemaker poised to go past Tim Don. Now Don, a 3:46 1500 metre runner in his prime, and that is going something. Shoemaker, of course, started his career as a runner, in fact, multi-talented. Baseball, hockey, you name it, he can do it. 15 seconds still between Shoemaker and the leader. Now, they're at the halfway stage. They've gained 10 seconds in the first 1,000. He's got to up the pace if he wants to catch Royal. But Shoemaker blasting past Zafiris, making it look easy. One American overtaking another, and now in pursuit of Canute, who's lying in second place at the moment. Again, Shoemaker changes gear and closes the gap on the youngster Canute. And for the first time, we have Shoemaker and the race leader Aaron Royal in the same shot, and the margin from 150 metres is cut to less than 50. The race is on. Shoemaker knows the urgency of the situation, and in fact he's taken Aaron Harris with him as well, who's moved up into fourth place and is just about to overtake Canute. This is the race leader. Royal must sense that he's got company behind him, because he can hear the roars from the crowd on the side of the road. 2 corners to go, just over 300 metres remaining, and Shoemaker gets ever closer to the race lead. Royal trying to emulate Sexton, who won here last year. The stride starting to shorten. But where is the advantage? The Australians always practice their sprint finishes, but Royal really doesn't look a match for Shoemaker at the moment. One corner to go, and Shoemaker, still with spring in his step, moves onto the shoulder of the Australian. He's going to rest a while, but he's not got long to wait. 110 metres to the finish now, and the Australian ups the pace. American Shoemaker raises his game yet again, but it looks as though Shoemaker's beaten. Royal finds something out of nowhere, and he's going to take the win ahead of Shoemaker, and Aaron Harris in third place. Second last year, he gets third this year. Tim Don just out sprinting Bowden to claim fourth place. Wow. And the Americans, Safiris and Canute, who did so much work early on, blown away in the final metres.
Well, Aaron, second last year, third this year. You seem to like this race. That was an epic finish.
Yeah, I'm more proud of this one than last year, just because of the depth of the field. It was such a strong race, and to come out on the podium with that, I'm really, really happy.
Where do you find a sprint from at the end of such a really, really tough race? The lactic must have been burning in that last 150.
Oh yeah, definitely. I need to find a sprint from somewhere. I keep getting out sprinted by these Aussies, but hopefully maybe next year.
What a race and what a finish. So close.
I know, it was a lot of fun, especially after the awful first round that I had. Come back and just be able to go for it was fun. I was coming up on him and went for it, and he just turned on the gun, so he was saving a little in reserve for it, but it was fun.
What a race. At the end, it looked as though you were going to run out of steam. Where did you find the last 50 metres from?
I've got a few friends out here that came to watch, and I heard them halfway down the straight, and I didn't want to lead the whole run and then get caught at the end, so I just found that extra gear that sometimes you don't think you have, but you find it at special times, and today I was able to do that.
Could you tell they were coming?
I could. I didn't realise who was coming or how far they were, but I knew that we pushed pretty hard on the bike, so my legs wouldn't be as fresh on the run, so I knew that we were in danger of some coming through, but it's hard when you're out in front and you know people are coming from behind it. It's hard to keep it right in the head to keep it going.
Well done. Please come back and defend your title next year.
I'll be here for sure, especially when it's like this.
Well, congratulations to Aaron Royal and, of course, Katie Hewison, who won the women's event earlier on. And don't forget the next big triathlon in London, the Olympic Games. The Brownlee brothers and Helen Jenkins all going for gold. The women's race on the 4th of August. The men's is on the 7th of August. It's free to view. It takes place in Hyde Park, and it will be one fantastic event. Well, congratulations again to Royal. 25:18, his winning time here at Canary Wharf, finishing ahead of Jared Shoemaker. What a runner. Brilliant effort. And Aaron Harris will be delighted to be back on the podium again. Tim Don's effort of 4th puts him to the top of the Super Series table, ahead of Richard Stannard now, and Adam Bowden moving up into 3rd place.
Well, it's been another epic night beneath these iconic buildings. 2 great wins for Katie Hewison and Aaron Royal. Congratulations to them. Our next stop is round 4 of the British Triathlon Super Series. That comes from the Strathclyde Park Triathlon, where last time out the winners were Helen Jenkins and Tim Don. 2 stellar casts assembled for that once again. So please do join us in Scotland in September. In the meantime, bye-bye for now.
British Triathlon, proudly partnered by GE. Imagination at work.